Pepper says, are you ready to declutter another section of this hoarded basement? I know I am. It is that time of the week again. It is time to declutter another section in this hoarded basement. And this summer we have made amazing progress chopping away at it. We've been focusing on this section for the past couple of weeks. But for today, we're going to wrap around over here and start cleaning this area because there is stuff here once again. Hello everyone and welcome back to A Hoarder's Heart. On this episode, we're going to be decluttering in this section of the basement. Summer is over. The boys have started school this week, and now we are really focusing in the basement, chopping away at it. Now, the area that we're going to be decluttering today is an area that's been decluttered before. And what has occurred is something that's called the churning of the hoard, or some people call it the snow plowing of the hoard. Some of the stuff that's down here was brought down here from the garage or other places so that I could go through it because I'm ADHD and I'm focused in the basement. So some things from upstairs will come downstairs into the empty space because this is where I'm highly focused at the moment, which means I'm going to complete the task. We've been down here all summer. My hyper focus is registering as, yep, here's the stuff. We're going to go through it. We're going to complete the task, where it's not really happening too much upstairs anymore. So that's why we're going to be talking a little more about churning the hoard and diving a little deeper into those behaviors, because most people with hoarding disorder has absolutely done this. So when I get started decluttering an overwhelming amount of stuff, I will scan the area and declutter the easiest thing I can find. And that is this plastic bag right here. I have so many plastic bags hoarded away that we can very easily let this one go. This is a random bin of light bulbs that work. Why did it get churned down here? Well, because it doesn't have an official home upstairs. That's another reason why a lot of things get churned, because they don't have proper homes in the house. So what does churning the hoard actually mean? Well, it means you're taking a pile of stuff from one area to your house and moving it to another area. You didn't actually declutter or deal with any of it, so it's the same amount of volume of stuff that's in your home. This was in the garage, but because hubby didn't know what to do with it, he put it into the basement because they were items for me to decide. It went from the garage into the basement, and I'm happy to say that we can let everything in this box go. So with that decision that was made, we ended the churning of the hoard for that box. Now, that wasn't always the case for me, because before I was a level 4 hoarder because I was consistently stuck in the churning of the hoard, not letting go of anything. So these are the tips that had helped me finally break that cycle. The first thing I had to do was be honest with myself and accept the fact that I had hoarding disorder and that it was okay. There was nothing wrong with me. My brain was just wired a little differently, and I lovingly accepted that I had that, but that I could still break through it. Before I decluttered, I had to change my mindset first. Next was a very logical approach, and that was, if I'm going to stop churning the hoard, I got to start eliminating the piles. And if I'm going to eliminate the piles, that means I need to carve out the time each and every week to do so. When I started this YouTube channel, I started making a weekly video on decluttering. And that became my allotted time to declutter, because I never did that as a level 4 hoarder. I never set aside the time to actually declutter. I just kept moving stuff around and around. So look at your weekly schedule and pick out a time that you're going to dedicate to decluttering. It can even be for 15 minutes after you've watched my video to give you a little encouragement. Once you picked out what time you're going to dedicate to decluttering, you also have to designate an area you want to declutter first. Now, since I was a level 4 hoarder and was not good at decluttering, I decided to go with the smallest room in the house with a little drawer and pick out the easiest things I could let go of. So the easiest things to let go of would be trash. Now, of course, what most people consider to be trash, I found to be valuable, but I could still distinguish what some trash was and decided to let that go. And over time, I was able to distinguish more and more what was actually trash, what I could let go of, and also what I wasn't as emotionally attached to. So anything that I registered from an emotional 1 to a 5, I could let go of easily. Now, my next tip is try to make quick decisions to keep or let go. Now, if you're a non-hoarder, try to make this decision in less than 15 seconds. Always go with that first response. If you first respond with, oh, I can get rid of this, go with that initial gut feeling. That's the correct answer, because I know sometimes we can start to think, oh, wait, but I could use this in the future. No. Get rid of it. Now, if you have hoarding disorder, then most likely you probably have decision-making paralysis. That was something that I had really badly. That's why I was consistently churning the hoard. I just froze when I had to make a decision on whether to keep or let go of it. And to break my cycle of decision-making paralysis, I had to first change my mindset because it was fear-driven. It was fear that kept me from making decisions. So I had to recognize that I struggled with this, but that it was okay. I lovingly accepted, and I knew that I could start to change. I knew that the strength already existed within myself and that I could develop these decluttering muscles. So I only let go of what felt right in my heart, and I also allowed myself the time to process the emotions that were being triggered if I felt the need to hold on to something. And this is part of the reason why it's taking me a while to declutter my hoarded house, which is quite okay because we're making continuous progress. We're always decluttering. We're always growing. By taking this time means I will sustain these new habits and not regress backwards. And also, just like non-hoarders, if my initial response was, I should let this go, I made sure to follow through with it. But I also told myself that I was doing the right thing. I'm strong enough to detach myself from the item and that I could maybe bless somebody else with this item. All of this for the recovering hoarder is part of that rewiring your nervous system that I am still safe if I declutter, and creating this into a positive experience so that you continue to declutter and chop away at your piles. This is what has helped me in recovering in hoarding disorder and to stop the continuous cycle of churning the hoard. The only reason why some things got churned down here was simply because it was in the garage. Hubby was not sure whether I was keeping it or letting it go, and he just wanted to be helpful knowing that she'll go through it here. He didn't want to just throw it out without me going through it because he knows that could have triggered a trauma response, creating a negative connotation with decluttering. He was only trying to prevent that. Now, as we stumble across these boys' books, I'm going to ask them if we can let go of these first 3 books here. I'm sure that they're going to say yes to it. But for the rest of the books, I really want them to go through it. I really want them to make the decisions on whether they're going to keep it or not. Because I want them to be able to declutter and not be stuck in churning the hoard as well. Because the moral of the story is that if you want to stop the cycle of churning the hoard, you gotta start getting rid of the piles. And that is exactly what we did here. We got rid of a lot of stuff, and we're going to be recycling it as best as we can. And I had captured this quick moment of Pepper making tossy biscuits, but of course, as soon as she caught me recording, she had stopped doing it. But I thought it was the cutest thing. And now we're so proud to show you the cleared out space. This is not a landing area for items that were churned down here. We were honest with ourselves. We made time to do it. We designated the area that we were going to declutter. We made decisions on letting go of stuff. And this is how we stop the endless cycle of churning the hoard. And my hope and my prayer is that this video motivated and encouraged you to clean, declutter, and let something go in your home today too.